Hi everybody, this is Steve. What I thought I'd do today is to show you a bit about what I do to go about lighting a fire when I'm camping. Now, lighting a fire is one of those things that pretty much anybody can do, especially if you're in perfect conditions, you've got unlimited materials and you've got plenty of fire lighting equipment. But sometimes conditions aren't ideal. Sometimes you've got rain, sometimes you've got wet wood and those kinds of things. Sometimes you've got plenty of wind and it might be harder to light a fire. So what I want to do is to show you my fire lighting kit, some of the things that I use, why I use them, and I'll show you a bit of a demonstration of how I go about lighting, or at least starting a fire. Okay, what I'll do is first of all introduce the different pieces of equipment that I use, and I'll explain why I use it, and then I'll show you how I go about lighting a fire. First thing I'd like to show you is this. This is my preferred method of lighting a fire. It's actually a jet lighter, great piece of kit. I bought this actually at a sailing equipment store. You can buy them at camping goods stores. I think you probably even buy them online as well. But the difference between this and a typical lighter is that this is actually a jet powered lighter. Now you won't be able to see it very well in the light I've got, so I'll just put something behind it that's dark so you can see how it works. You just press that button there and you can see the jet flame there. Now what the beauty of that jet flame is that the wind won't actually blow it out, and it actually will penetrate too into the pile of tinder or whatever it is you're lighting. So a great piece of kit. I've had this for about a year and still got plenty of propane in there, and get hundreds and hundreds of lights out of one unit. I don't know, that probably cost me $5 or something like that, but yeah, that's my go-to, and that's what I usually use to light a fire, and I absolutely love this. If I don't have that, or for some reason I was caught in a situation where I couldn't use it, I have my Gerber Ferro Rod, which is a great piece of kit as well. So this comes in a two-piece kit. It's waterproof. It's got a lanyard, has a whistle on there, so if you're in a survival situation you can attract attention. It also has this top on the top here, which actually you can pull off. If I can get it off, there we go. And you can see that in there's some tinder. I use actually cotton wool or dryer lint that you can use as tinder. So great piece of kit, and that comes in really handy. I'll show you how I use that a little bit later. Next piece of kit that I use is these pads. Now this is actually one of those makeup removal pads that you can buy anywhere, supermarket, chemist shop, anywhere like that. But what I do with these is, instead of just using them as they are, I actually soak them in a mixture of eucalyptus oil and paraffin oil, and I find actually that is a brilliant mixture. It actually allows this pad to burn many times longer than it would if I didn't actually have that. The other thing that I use, which is also just as good, is I use pieces of dryer lint, and I just get this off the dryer after we've been drying clothes, and you can use that as well, and you can soak that in the same mixture. You could soak your tinder in just about anything. Methylated spirits or kerosene I suppose would work, but this is just great. I like this mixture of eucalyptus and paraffin. So that's the next thing that I use, and just great as a way of starting the fire. Burns for quite a while once you've lit it with that mixture in there, and just allows you to start a fire even with pretty wet timber. Now the next thing I will show you is this here. This is actually fat wood, and I've actually shaved off sort of matchstick thick shavings there, and I find this actually is brilliant because although you can shave your fat wood down to very fine shavings, I find that the tinder pads that I use are much better for that. This is great for actually once you've got that tinder pad burning, you put this these shavings on there, and that sustains the fire to the next level of sustainability, or strength of fire. And from there you can go and you can put on your tinder. Now, even if you've got fairly wet tinder or lightweight material, this fat wood will burn long enough to actually dry that out as it burns. And that's the secret when you're lighting fires in wet conditions, is you've got to have enough heat that it'll burn off the moisture, and then it'll burn the timber. And so this is really good. Then in addition to that, I've got other fat wood here that I've actually split to make just a bit thicker than matchwood. And I can use that, put 2 or 3 pieces or 4 pieces or so on the fire to let next go to the next level of strength of burning. So that's the equipment that I use. That's the kit that I have. So what I want to do now is to show you how I would actually go about lighting a fire using these. So what I might do is I'll take these away. First of all, I'll use this pad. Now what I will do first of all is, when I get that pad, I'll just sort of pull pieces out, fluff it up a bit, tease it out to create some sort of soft, fluffy sections on there. Pop that on there. Now I'm not going to worry about lighting it with this, because that's pretty obvious I'd be able to light it with that lighter. But what I'll do, I'll show you how I'd light it with my ferro rod. What I do there is, and I'll just come around the camera, what I do there is using this striker, and it's important to have a good striker with a sharp edge. And from time to time, it's not a bad idea to get a sharpening stone and just to take off the top of that ridge there to make it a nice sharp corner, because you need to scrape off micro shavings of this ferro rod to get them to actually react and cause a spark. So it's important to have a sharp striker. So all you would do there is just one strike, and it burns, and you'll notice that will burn for quite a while. And so there you are, that's it. And even in this wind, I've got quite windy conditions, it'll actually burn quite nicely. Now if I had good quality tinder and plenty of material, I could just start the fire there, put my next layer of material, which would be very thin, like leaves or grass or very thin pieces of wood, and that would be fine. But if it's particularly wet, or if it's very windy, I want to make it even stronger. So I can get some of these shavings, and I can just drop those on. And what you'll notice is that they'll catch very quickly. And here we go, the wind's blown that out. So I might have to light that again. And the beauty of this is that because of that impregnation, it actually will light again. There we are. And now that fat wood will take and begin to burn. Now I've got to say too that I also have a bit of a wind barrier that I use when I'm using my gas stove, and I sometimes put that up around the fire if it's very windy as well, as a wind barrier. So that fat wood is now taking that fire to the next level of strength, and you can see how I could then put pretty much any material on there and it would burn. Okay, so obviously what I could do then is, if I needed more burning strength, I could actually put some of these sticks on there. They would take, and that would then take it to the next level of strength again. So that's how I start a fire, even in windy conditions or damp conditions. And hopefully this has been helpful, and look forward to showing you some other techniques in other videos.